Happy Tuesday everybody. I want to show you a game that I've been playing for a little while now and I think is really quite good. My name is James, this is G30, a game that's been out on the App Store for a little while. It's not brand new or anything, but it's something that's been passed over, at least by AppSpy so far, and I've just discovered it and think it's rather lovely. It's a game where the form and the function fit together so well, and a game that presents itself so perfectly for touchscreen play that I felt it could not be overlooked any longer. So, what's the deal here? As you can see, these dotted lines indicate areas you can swipe, and they will allow you to move between these different shapes, and you're trying to combine to create one big shape, each one being a little part of another. You'll see as I do so, though, as I move these little sliders around, letters will change at the top of the screen to form kind of weird, slightly mangled sentences. These flashing letters up here, I'm going to tap on each of them, and they kind of fly off into the top right hand corner for a reason I will explain in a little bit. I'm just going to complete this, what is clearly a dog, and there you go, that's finished the sentence up top. I managed to run away from the chase, but I can still hear the dogs barking. So here, and dogs, still remain untapped. Now if I click this little icon in the top right, this is what it opens up. You found the first part. Tap on other words in levels to collect the hidden story. So if I do that, you'll see this. So as you can imagine, as you continue to play through the game, the idea is to build this broken story so that you can read the whole thing by the end of it. Now, what the hell is this game even about, you might ask, and I haven't completed it yet, but what it seems to be about is memory. How it can play tricks with you, and how if you're maybe suffering from a condition that interferes with your memory and the way that you perceive the world, how that can become incredibly difficult and tough to work through, and affect the way that you perceive objects. And this is where I talk about form and function coming together. So this idea of like putting together different objects to make a recognizable form, like here I've just made a raindrop out of these different items, is not just, oh, it's a cool game mechanic of slotting bits together like a jigsaw. It's actually reflecting this notion of if you have trouble understanding what things are, if you have a memory issue and you look at shapes and you literally don't recognize them, they can appear like visual noise, they can appear like nonsense. This is what dyslexia sufferers report when they look at words. The numbers and the letters will almost jump around on the page in a way that makes no sense. And this game seems to be trying to convey that sensation, what it's like to look at an object and not really quite get what it is, or have to flick through your memory banks to go, now what the hell is this exactly? Until you eventually, let me hit that word up there, make sense of what you're seeing. And that's really interesting. Like, in terms of games having a message, if that is the true message, I'm only working on my gut instinct here, that's really fascinating. I'm going to hit lost up here. Now you'll notice, because I was chatting to you guys, I didn't hit every letter as it was illuminated, so I've missed some in this level. I can then go back afterwards and fix them. You see the bottom ones here, these are all coloured in. This crossing, bridge and passes are not coloured in, so I need to go back and sort that out if I want to see the full picture at the end of the stage. And this is only one stage, which is a few levels long, and then you move on to another stage and another beyond it. And each of the different story bits that we're filling up, these bits here, this is page one of a several page story that you try and make sense of. And as you can see, the rules have been changing slightly, so as it's become more complex, I've got the trees here. Let me hit trees. Now if I swipe the yellow one, I can move this around and that creates the unknown. And then I get this blue one, and if I hit the blue one, you'll notice the blue and the green are now moving together, which complicates things. So I'm trying to make this tree, so if I move the blue around there and then correct the green, we can get petrified. Now we've got a red one which has appeared in the middle, and the red one is also moving the blue one, so I have to move that back. That gives me autumn, and we're complete. Which opens up the doorway. Now if I look here, you can see I've still got 4 boxes to uncheck, and that's in the previous level, and I can go and fill that up if I want to, but I'm going to move on to the next stage. And here you go, who am I then if my memory is impaired? You get little quotations in between stages. And if you look at that level selection screen, you can see what looks like it almost looks like brain fibers to me. It's like neurons firing in the brain. And again, very thematic of what it's being talked about. Now, I've talked a lot about theme and function and all that. The basic principle underlying all games, though, is it any fun to play? And yes, it is. If you like puzzlers, if you enjoy playing those kind of games, particularly what it immediately made me think of, in every Uncharted game, there is at least one or two of these puzzles where you have to get a seal and move the individual segments of the seal, these like little bands around the circumference of a disc, so that the image matches up and you get a picture of some Mayan god or something. It's like that, but extended. Now you see it's gotten even more complicated because there are now these sliders in the bottom left and right hand side of the screen, which you have to flick quite fast to cycle through shapes there. So what we want to do is create a book. And move this yellow one around here. There we go. So I find this a very oddly relaxing game to play, despite the fact that what it's dealing with, I think, underneath it all is quite heavy. And don't get me wrong, you can just play this game like a game. You don't have to think about all the deep and heady messages necessarily. You can just enjoy it for what it is, which is a clever, visually interesting, stripped down puzzler. But if you want to look a little deeper, I really think that there is something there. Here's a new mechanic again. So right, you can see the dots and the circle that are surrounding the dotted line. If I move it over to here, you see that the red dot's going to hit this yellow one. Bam. The yellow dotted line now lights up, which means I can swipe and move it. But I couldn't do before. If I move it away, it grays out. Same thing with the blue one over here. Now that one's lit up. I need to find the right shape. There we go, to fill that gap. I can put that back here. And there we are. Again, I haven't hit all of the words there to build up the word page yet. The reason I'm showing this to you from the beginning, I've already played all these levels, is because it's potentially a bit spoilerific, and I only wanted to show you the, opening few stages, because it's a premium game that you can download on the App Store right now. Those of you who like to support premium games, this, I would argue, is a good one to do if you like that sort of thing. I'm really impressed with it. I think it's a very clever, well-executed idea, and I want to finish it myself in my own time. So, G30 is the name. The link is in the About section beneath the video as always. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.